Hello everybody. A video that I promised I'm going to do. There was a lot of questions in the past almost month, which is they all came into this video. It is about understanding of timeline, what timeline is, how is it works, why certain things they don't work anymore since you're a twin flame. They worked before. What is the difference? What's the changes are into it. First of all, thanks everybody for the wishes for a fast healing here. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for it. Um, Thank you for all the support that people did into it, despite some of the situations that were there. But we're talking about timelines, and I had a questions from Twin Flames there, like Dio had a reading from such and such. She's a twin flame. She said that I'm gonna be with my twin flame in union by such a date. Why don't happen? I had other person coming in. It's like Dio, what's going on? I had a reading. Um, Things that didn't happen the way the reading is, where the person says he's got a very good reputation, blah blah blah. And I got just now, I just got another question who is actually so related to this. Um, First of all, thank you for. I would just want to make sure I get the name right. Into uh, Shuida Iwate Hobale. I think I pronounced it right. If not, I'm sorry. I didn't. But here's what she said though. Um, Dio, any tarot reader, psychic, are able to predict your future events? Question mark. I don't think so. Only divine knows what's next. It's not criticism by me, but even I'm astrologer, but still can tell anyone's life 100%. Universe guide me, and I'm walking through the path. I never got any doubt, confusions about my journey. I never asked to anyone because I believe that from the starting, universe revealed me everything. Okay, what's going on up here with all this psychic readings and everything? A lot of the people don't understand the things that's called destiny or that's called the timeline. What we know about timeline, that we are born. We are born on a certain timeline. A timeline is the linear representative of important events in order for which they occur. So I will use myself as an example, just so you can understand. Astrology wise, okay, I'm born on October 6, 1973. This is the time when I'm born into it. The Sofia, Bulgaria, it's 11:45 p.m. So this is my chart. I'm born with this energy. Whatever I am, I came in, I decide to have this energy with me. I decide to be like this, and that's what it was. So in the timeline, this is the year of 1973. So talking about for the event comes in your life. For example, you went to school. Then another event is you went to the high school. Another event is you moved to a big town. Then another event is marriage. Another event is you meet your twin flame. And another event is something else. So this is an example of a timeline. Those are events that happen during the timeline. But now, since we are who we are, and we understand everything that we understand, we create our plans according to what we feel. So usually we create a plan, and as this plan here comes in, we have this God's plan and our plan. But all of a sudden, when you become a twin flame, that doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? Simply because in the twin flames, once the soul is energized, we are not acting anymore as ego, we're acting as a soul. So this becomes this, and this becomes this. So God, it shows you with your twin flame what is the perfect harmony, what is the perfect life, what is the perfect situation when you are in the bubble love. And of course, we as unbelievers, and we want everything to control, we tell, well, it can't happen, this is so good to be true, it cannot be, other people see it. In my case, there's gonna be some influence from other people, or people not gonna believe, and so on and so on and so on. So what happens is we come down here and we're creating this hell, are also known as the stages in the twin flame. But to go back into it, we want to interfere in another timeline. So this timeline, as we know it, we want to interfere. Why? Because as astrologers, even me, I'm as an astrologer, I don't look for the future. People ask me quite a few times, Dio, why you don't do predictions? I don't do predictions. What I read is what it presents this line up here. When I do my on the Facebook, my stuff or my videos that I did, I look at that line. So if you are right here, you to come back to this line, you to come up here. A lot of the people, what they do though, they go to astrologer, they go to a tarot reader, and they say like, okay, hey, listen, you're here right now, but at the year 2020, or let's say, for example, that I was giving, all right, for year 2018, August, you gonna be in union with your twin flame. Okay, so you're here, you know that you're gonna be in union, so you don't do your inner work as a twin flame. So what happens is, you stay here, you don't do what you're supposed to do, and what you didn't did what it's supposed to do, you went down, and the union does not happen, simply because you already know that something is going to happen. So you're changing your timeline, and you walk into a different path. You walk into a different path of line instead of the line of destiny. Simply because you know the future. When you know the future, you're changing it. You're changing an event that you see it. Someone who actually can predict this, they might predict your own vibrations. When you're looking at it as a astrology chart, or if you're doing it tarot, the tarot, you have to do it as the person doesn't ask you, when they ask you something, they don't tell you the question. You asking, when they tell you the question, you can tap into their own vibrations, their own things that they want to have. When they're gonna ask the questions, you don't have to know the question. You tell, okay, universe, show up as a guidance what this person has to do in order to comes down to this destiny line. And when I do a tarot readings, I ask the person, listen, I don't want to know the questions, I don't care about the questions, we're just gonna guide the universe to tell you what you need to do in order for best to get your questions answered. What kind of guidance you're going to need. That guidance is, again, brings you back to the line of the destiny. As you see it also, Kai Pacha, who is a very famous astrologer, who I really, really much respect into it, he does, and his prediction, he puts you back at what the line is, what the events are coming in, where the planets are going to be, what's going on with all the situation. So you can learn, you can see where you are, you will know with what we are going to dealing within the line of destiny. Is the destiny is pretty much for all of us? Kind of a sort of, because we are living on this rock called Earth, and guess what? We are living in the same house, in the same home, like it or not. A lot of people divided by countries, a lot of stuff, just a lot of divisions onto it. We're still living on the same rock. Doesn't matter what. So the timeline is that when you're born, or where are you born into it? If you trust, surrender, and let go, you will be on this path pretty much. But when you use your ego, you can be like this, until you don't surrender, till you die. So a lot of the people trying to go ahead and manipulating these timelines. These timelines are created before you. Your destiny is done before you. So whatever is going to happen in your life, it's already been written. Why it doesn't happen and how it doesn't happen is simply you're not in this line here. You are somewhere way up here until you understand that your way it's not going to work. Your way is not going to work. There is other forces in part. When you do a reading, so I can go back to the question, the universe, it tells you what you need to read. You need to read the environment. You cannot really say that's going to happen 100% for that person, because that person, as I show you as in my chart as an astrologer, okay, is totally different for everybody. It's like the DNA. It's different. They can have similarities, but they're different. They're not the same. Not every person can handle, for example, Saturn in the 12th house. Okay? So this is a very specific part of a person who is in spirituality is going to put the family into the spirituality, because it is in Cancer. Ascendant Cancer is person who looks more about family, but that Saturn is going to create these limitations within the family, so he can be able to do what he needs to do as a spirituality to open up a secret. And this is what I do, because someone specifically wanted to know what the Saturn and 12th house in my chart does. So go back to this timeline of it. That interference of the timeline is the one that mostly screwing up your life. That is going to be your resistance to what's going on. That could be the silence of what's going on. That could be wrong guidance from people that don't know what's going on. And usually the way you fix that line is when you suffer so much, you go into it. But you have to understand that this timeline here, it's so much as an emotions. And that can create so much problems while you're not doing this job. You're gonna lose this time frame. Things that needed to happen by destiny, things that they needed to happen, but what they needed to happen, they're not gonna exist. So now, what happens is you interrupting the line of destiny. As somebody else, it has to fix your destiny for you. So right here, you have a baby. You have a kid. And that baby, when it's born, it has to fulfill that gap. That's what it's also known as a family karma. Something that they have to do for you. And this is why when you're born within a family, you have to fulfill that gap that has been created. So the more you understand this, the timelines, the better build for you that you need to do the three things. Always been the three things: trust, surrender, and let go. You need to trust of what's going on in life. You need to surrender to the changes, and you have to let it go of the old. You have to literally let it go. If you don't let it go, you go back to these lines here, and then you created the karma that needs to be fulfilled. So if you begin to listen and you change this timeline here, and you understand your timeline, and you came into the total surrender, total let go, and you trust the universe, you're going to have a little bit ups and downs, till you can come with an alignment within the universe. And this is going to be when you begin your mission to do, everything is going to be kind of like a go on its own way, not your way, and it's the way it is. And even if you try to control things, you will understand as parts of a timeline. So if you are an astrology reader, or if you're a tarot reader, you have to read with the intentions of this line, with the intentions that the people have to not interfere this. If someone comes in and asks you about the future, you have to tell them that you can't tell them the future. They don't need to know the future. They have questions about what they wanted to do. What the people they wanted to do is you have to tell them that, okay, let's see where you are, and let's see how I'm going to bring you down to the line of destiny. Not because of knowing the future. And this is why a lot of the people begin to ask more and more questions that they're actually false, because they changed them. They changed this part of destiny line inside of them without properly understanding how that works. So this is what I have for you, and we'll leave you with this, that sometimes, what do you think about plants? You have to look this. God did not create this for you. God created the perfections for you. But by you fixing and looking at everything that you think, that was the line that it comes down for you. How hard is your life is exactly up to you. But if you trust, if you surrender, if you let it go, then maybe this is going to be your line. This is going to be a line of destiny. Thank you so much. Be loved.